Welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear it for our special guest host, Joe Dukes.
Well, man, I'm fired up out of mind. It's the TWC, baby. It's Wednesday. That means it's Wonderful Wednesday. I got to wake up this morning freaking out because I got to talk to some of my favorite people in the whole wide world, the Alliance Nation. So, guys, I am talking to you from beautiful downtown Ogden, Utah, where it is sunny and the mountains are green right now because we do not have snow yet. Give me 90 days and we'll have a couple 100 inches of snow up there. It'll be awesome. But, guys, I'm super excited about being able to be asked to talk on the TWC today, to be able to host it, have some amazing guests on, just talking about the power of the team, the power of diversity in your team and inclusion, and then really how to build a team for life, and something that you can not only build for today, but you can have for the long game. So, guys, I'm super excited. We got some amazing things going on right now. Was talking this morning with Jack and Tia, and guys, there are new Alaska winners, and I want to use the word winners, but people who earned the trip. Because whenever we use the word winner, I was always thinking, if you've ever played in a game, you know, there's winners and there's losers. The cool thing here is that everyone in the Alliance can earn one of these trips, and it is a trip that is earned. And I remember it was, I think it was when we were in Aruba, Andy was talking about one of the 8 steps, and one of those 8 steps is $10 meetings. And he said, hey, listen, guys, part of the $10 meetings is being at this meeting here, being on these trips. So if you're like, hey, I'm 8/8, man, I do all 8 steps, that means that you're doing whatever it takes to be able to qualify for this Alaska trip. So if you were watching that video beforehand, I'm fired up because that's where I'm from originally. It was so cool seeing all these amazing places you guys are going to be able to enjoy. So for this week, people who just qualified to earn the trip for this week, Caroline and Robin Poe, JT Rouse, and Mr. Chris Manifold. Woo! That's right, baby. We are all going to Alaska. You're going to be hanging out, sitting on the deck of the Ovation of the Seas, going out in this, guys. It's going to be amazing. You're going to see things that you've only seen on postcards. You watch National Geographic. You're going to experience wildlife. Different from the wildlife we saw in Miami for family reunion. It's going to be a totally different kind of wildlife, but it's going to be amazing, and you're going to be able to do it with some of the most amazing people that you've ever met, you know, your Alliance family. And that right there is worth the price of admission, just to be able to just imagine this. What would you be willing to do to sit on the sun deck? And yeah, there'll be sun out some days, sitting on the sun deck, being able to sit out there with Adam and Beth Katz, Andy and Jane Albright, you know, Mike and Noah Leventovich, you know, watching these huge glaciers, watching the killer whales, having the puffins fly around, and watching these huge chunks of ice come off the glacier. It's called calving when they come off, and big waves, and it's going to move. It's going to be amazing drinking hot chocolate. I remember for the last 17 years, I've listened to Adam Katz talk about his favorite trip being this Alaska cruise, and him standing on the deck with Andy and Jane drinking hot chocolate. And I want you guys to be able to experience that too. So just fired up about that. And that's the power of building a team that lasts a long time. You know, Andy and Jane have, when they started this business 20 plus years ago, I don't know if this is what they imagined, but I'm just so grateful that I got to be part of it. That Paul Epstein invited me to join, and Mike and Noel, helped train me, and I've been able to build great relationships with people in this organization. Guys, the cool thing with what we do is that we are in a people business. Being in a people business, it means that we're going out, we're serving folks, but part of it is you're never by yourself. And part of not being by yourself is like, how can we get better? And one of the things I realized is that I can't be a prophet in my own land. I needed to get out of my own way. I need to be able to have people pour into the team, and then need to be able to go out and pour into others. So this week, I mean, it's so amazing to be able to see all the cool places that that Andy is going this week, and we have our hot spots here. I'm going to share with what we got going on. Oh, if I can, this is operator error on my end. Hey ho, here we are. Okay, and I knew I could do it. See, this is technology at its finest. So, guys, if you have not gone to this website and saved it on your browser, theallianceevents.com/hotspots. This is on my browser. As you can see, I have like 26 browser windows open. But this is one I have right in the middle, because as I'm talking to new agents, this is where I'm going. Like today, you got Andy, Stephen Davies, Megan Wood, Brandon Manley, Noel Leventovich, Spencer Albright, plus a bunch of carriers there in Houston. They're having the Medicare rollout tomorrow. Robbie Kraft is going to be down with Mike Hartlieb in Orlando. Marvin Osuna flew all the way out to San Antonio from Reno, Nevada to work with those guys down there. Got another Medicare rollout coming out on Friday. Andy and Stephen and Megan, they are flying out in the jet out to Albuquerque on Thursday morning, and then going to be in Denver Thursday evening and doing a boot camp there on Friday. Lou Abadi is going to be in Nashville, and Jason and Olga Mathis, Robbie Kraft, guys, we are all over the place. We're having a boot camp here in Ogden here on Saturday with Miss Sarah Gonzalez, and I found out that my man Brandon Beal's coming out, going to help pour into the team out there too. So, guys, if you're wanting to grow and wanting to say, hey, how do I learn how to get better? How do I learn how to go out and get better on the phone? One of the last boot camps I attended was in Denver, and something that Marcus Richardson said in that boot camp has stuck with me ever since. He says, hey, listen, he says, Joseph, 80% of your work as a sales agent is going to be on the phone. I had never thought of that before. And then he went on to do some fantastic training. So if you guys are wanting to, hey, how do I learn how to get better on the phone? How do I learn to get better in the field? How do I learn to be a better manager? How do I learn to recruit? Why should I recruit? Well, the thing to do is, I would tell you, be at one of these events that we have going on around the country. So, guys, when I was hired 17 years ago, it's hard to think it's been that long. I didn't have hair then, don't have hair now, but my kids were super young, and now they're all grown up. And the cool part is that I look back and I think on the people that, like, what my vision was when I started. I was looking for a side hustle. I was doing mortgages. I was looking for a way to make some extra money and potentially go out and maybe one day to be my own boss, maybe one day have my own business, maybe one day. And then when that happened, because the mortgage market collapsed, I'm so grateful that we had started this before the mortgage market collapsed in 2008, because when it did, I was able to transition and start doing this as a full-time salesperson. And then, over the next couple of years, learn, hey, wait, we can build a sales team. We can actually have a business. And started hiring folks. And really, I didn't know what I was doing. I remember Mike telling me, hey, dude, just start talking to people. And over the years, we found some amazing people that have stuck with us, some that have been with us for a while and then gone on to find other things that they wanted to do outside the Alliance. But I realized that I'm looking for longevity. I was looking for people that I could hang with, like going on this trip to Alaska, going on every one of these all expense paid trips. The things that I look forward to the most are the people. It's who am I hanging out with? Hey, whether it's hanging out in a pub in Ireland with Noel and Mike Leventovich and Debbie Ben and Jara, and we're all hanging out and listening to all these crazy Irish people and just having a good time, or sitting down in coffee in Paris, or sitting on a cruise ship. Like it's the people that really make this. And so thinking about who you want to have on your team. Like what kind of people do you want to have? I think that for me, the one prerequisite is that is I didn't want to hang out with a bunch of people I didn't like. And I wanted to hang out with people who were like-minded, meaning that they love their family. You know what? They have, you know, they're, you know, directed the same way, you know, morally, you know, they aren't going to lie, cheat, or steal, you know, little things like that. I want to make sure that I could trust them, because again, when I started, I had little kids. And so I wanted to know, and my kids, I remember bringing my daughters, my little girls, to different events. I brought them to family reunion. You know, there were times I brought them to national convention. There was one year that I actually, my daughter was old enough. She was, and I brought her as my guest out to one of the trips to Hawaii. And it was so cool to watch, you know, how she had built relationships with people over the years in these meetings, and then to see her as basically almost grown up, being able to, you know, interact with Andy and Jane and Mike and Noel, and those are the kind. And then, you know, I remember Marty and Diana Doge, you know, spending time with Lily as well, and just these are things that are in my head. I'm like, these are the type of people that I want in my life. So I want to be able to bring some folks up, just so you guys know that, hey, you know, who are you looking for? Who are you looking for when you're recruiting? And it may be people that you're personally recruiting and with. It may be someone that you're building a relationship with in depth, because, you know, remember, we're not just hiring this way. We're building relationships down. We're trying to find people who want to grow. And so I'd love to be able to bring up Miss Jen Talbot first, if we could, Jack. Hey, Miss Jen, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Dude, awesome. Well, hey, I know that you're relatively new, but I'd love for you to just start off and introduce yourself, you know, how you were brought on, how long you've been with us. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was scrolling Indeed because I had been a stay-at-home mom and just had another new baby. And I love being a mom. Don't mince words with that, but my brain was so mush. I needed something outside my girls. I wanted to make a little bit extra money to help pay bills, all that fun stuff. My sweet husband is in cybersecurity, so he's doing great, paying all the bills, and I was like, hey, I want to do something a little bit extra to help support our family, buy some cute outfits for the girls. So I was scrolling Indeed, and my background, I was actually going to school for HR to be a benefits specialist, coincidentally. And I found out there's no money in being an HR rep. So I was like, oh my gosh, I love insurance, but I want to make more than like $25 an hour, because you can't buy much with that. So I was scrolling around and I was like, I've never done sales before, but I love insurance. I love people, love my family, and I love helping others to really support themselves. So I applied, I talked to Layton, and it was a great fit. I needed something that was flexible with my cute girls and my family. I talked with Joe. He was a firecracker. He's an awesome guy. If you've never met Joseph Dukes, he's one to know. But he really helped me see how I can invest in my own business, how I can do this on severely part-time hours. I'm actually only running business on Friday nights and Saturdays when my husband's not working. So we're able to stretch that way. That's definitely something that me and my husband, we balance my work-life balance with his work-life balance. And it's all about communication with that. I have an incredible husband who's right here and there. Matt Talbot is the love of my life, and he's really the one that helps me with my business, with the girls, so I'm able to run business, go out, help individuals, and then also to help recruit on my end. I'm able to do what I was doing in the beginning with helping people on Indeed. So
right now
that's
you're
definitely something that support.
so right now, Jen, so how long have you been with us?
I've been running business for about 2.5 months now.
Okay, cool. So been with us two and a half months. So you're selling very part-time, but you're also recruiting. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you have scheduled interviews each week, you have scheduled appointments each week, and you're coming into the office one day a week to dial on our dial days. And now I know that so how much premium have you written, or what's been, some stuff that you've run into in the field? I mean, are you writing business? What is that looking like?
Great question. So I have written about 5-6 policies so far. Premium is about, we're in the thousands for each, but we did just get an annuity written, which is amazing as well.
And how big is the annuity?
So it was a $314,000 annuity.
Right. So did you learn that on your own? How were you leveraging the system to be able to find that?
Absolutely not. We're not in a business of I. There is always the team. I actually had one of your old leads that I was dialing on dial day. Vicky and Scott Anderson are amazing. They actually met with Joe a couple years ago. Didn't work out then. We're good. That's why we keep dialing. And it turned out that I was the agent. I was supposed to give them a call. Didn't want the life insurance initially, but then they called me back for the annuity because I had planted those seeds. We have talked about what they wanted to do with their retirement for the funds they want to leave with their kids. And then they actually gave me a call back about 2 weeks later. I actually brought Joe with me because I was like, I know nothing about annuities, can barely spell it. But I researched everything, able to see the process, and here we are. Last week I was able to make 10 grand on that alone, but great paycheck.
And let's be clear, is that you also got on the phone with Coop from Burlington Alliance Capital Management.
Yep, bam.
So exactly. So Chris had got you on the phone with Coop. Coop had gotten on the phone with me. We'd been able to talk, and then you had gone out and you sat down with them, and then you were able to help them out again with the annuity. And then I think that you also have 4 or 5. How many people have you hired on right now on your team?
On my team, about 10, 11. I actually had 4 more last night that I hired on, so about 15 now. But
cool.
Yeah,
awesome. So even on a part-time basis, so people are going, well, I can't sell, or hey, I'm focused on. I love this. I love, and I wish one day I'll be able to do an Andy. But when he's talking about, people saying, I'm busy building my business, I can't sell, or I'm busy selling, so I can't build my business. And here you are, you're been with us less than 90 days, or selling less than 90 days. You're selling part-time, you're recruiting part-time, but you're trying to schedule it all and balance it in. So you're leveraging Matt. So Matt's your husband. So Matt's helping you out. And then, so I guess my last thing I just ask you is that if you had someone who's new like you, brand new, trying to figure this thing out, they're like, maybe they're a busy single person, or they're a busy, mom, or they're a busy dad with kids, and they got all these responsibilities. What advice would you give them as a brand new person to do?
Brand new person. don't sell yourself short. You can do this. Don't let your fears control your life, because it'll never change. So for me, I was never a salesperson. I have 2 beautiful daughters. I'm a mom, stay-at-home mom. And I would say to the new person, get through the class fast. The quicker you go through it, better chance you have of passing the first time, like I did. So I would set my nights aside. Matt would take care of the girls. I would study, make sure I knew the content, took the test as quick as possible, get your training done, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Embrace the suck, as Joe says. While you're new, you're going to suck. It's okay. We all do it. Go through it quick, and then you'll be able to get confident, get more knowledgeable. And for me, I actually just hired an assistant because I have so much business to do. I'm actually going to have my assistant start recruiting for me so that I can be running even more business. I'll be able to get everything taken care of, more balanced. I am so stoked to have that help. And I am just fired up. Every time I speak with someone new, I'll be at the grocery store, I'll be going on a date with my cute husband. I am just forever talking about what I do because I have that freedom. I'm buying back that time with my family. And if you're a hard worker, I want you on my team. So I just never stop talking.
Hey, bud. Well, I am so proud of you and excited for the fact that you guys have got a fast start for you and Matt. I know you guys are picking up the pace and focusing on Alaska. So we're excited to be hanging out with you guys here soon. So thank you so much for jumping on today, hon.
Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome. So, so being able to, building for the future. So it's, talk about inclusive so our organization, we have a leg that we're going to be talking to some folks here next who right now is our newest agency manager in the organization at the deepest part of our deepest taproot leg. And I think back that where that leg started, it was 15 years ago, and it started here. I was living in Phoenix. I started running business. I actually was running an ad in Salt Lake and hired a guy who hired his brother, who hired a friend of theirs, who hired somebody else, who hired a crazy person, who hired, it was like, and so we say, who hired, who hired another final expense agent, who hired an attorney who was a retired attorney, who hired Jerry Gonzalez, and then I love Jerry and Pam. They're just two of the most awesome people, and who I got to know Jerry, and then Jerry introduced me to his daughter Jera, who then introduced us to Jake and Bray, who introduced us to Miss Sarah Seifert. And guys, the question that I have is that are you willing to play the long game? Are you willing to build relationships? Like what we're doing, it's a relationship business. When you're sitting down with clients and you're like, hey, I want to build a client for today. I want to have a client for life. Well, how do you build a client for life? It's not the one and done. Like a client for life is not someone that you go and you sit down with once and you help them with that mortgage protection, that final expense app, and then you never call them again. Or you avoid their phone calls when they call you because they need their policy serviced, or they have something. And those are people that, if you're going to build a clientele based on relationships, you're going to do that by going out and serving them again and again. And sometimes really doing it with no expectation of getting anything out of it. It's about, hey, the more I serve, the longer, I'm going to be in business. The more I serve, the more we're going to be blessed. And so I look down this leg and I look at the relationships that I've been able to have over the years with just some phenomenal people, some with us still and some who are not. But I love the time I've been able to laugh with Jerry and travel the world and do crazy stuff with Jera. And now we got Sarah and Pablo and Jake and Bray. I'm just so excited to have Sarah on here. So Sarah, buddy, just, hey, I'm proud of you, proud of what you and Pablo are doing. It was definitely in looking back on a little over a year ago when I first heard your name and I first talked to you when you were still at the dental office. I really didn't know what to expect. But truthfully, it doesn't surprise me to see you on our call today. It doesn't surprise me to see what your team is doing and the velocity that you guys are growing. So I'd love to hear from you. Like really, if you can take us back, like, where did you start? Like, what was your background? What were you doing? What was your thoughts coming on board? And then what was your initial kind of thought process of what you wanted to do with this?
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me on today, Dukes. I do not take these calls lightly. Good morning, and thanks for having us on. But yeah, when I first started, I guess I didn't really know I was looking. I started as a dental hygienist, and I was basically doing this part-time. I was reflecting over what it looked like, a year ago, and it was organized chaos, to say the least. I hear Jen talk and I think, yeah. Just piecing it together, basically, doing this. I treated this very much so as a side hustle, for sure. It definitely was a side hustle. Doing it part-time, doing it 1 day a week. My vision, Dukes, when I first started, was just to make more money. That's it. Really, just be a personal producer. I knew that I could have a business. I just was being a little bit stubborn at the beginning. I just didn't think I had the time from it. I didn't think I had the time to do it. But very quickly, I learned to leverage my time and buy my time, right? So yeah, when I first started, it was just piecing things together, a lot of, you got kids, okay, I got kids, okay, who's doing bedtime, a lot of communicating, a lot of just, bringing Pablo in to help and have him support the personal production side of things.
Okay. So when you were starting, you were working, so you were in the medical field, or what was it that you were doing?
Yeah, so I was a dental hygienist. I was cleaning teeth part-time. So 2 days a week, I was in people's knee deep in saliva.
Oh,
yeah. Yes.
All right. Yeah. So let's be clear. So you were working 2 days a week in the dental office. You had 3 babies at home, and they were how old?
I had a 3-month-old, a 2-year-old, and a 5-year-old. Gotcha.
So we had a newborn, a toddler, and one that was, just irritating, because they're at that irritating age. So which is they get into everything, and you're just wondering, okay, what is on fire? Okay, who has the matches? So, right. Cool. So you started doing that. What was it that made you shift gears from wanting to do this part-time to wanting to, because are you still doing hygienist now? I mean, are you still a hygienist?
Not no, but heck no.
Okay.
I left dentistry January 1st of this year.
Awesome.
So definitely not doing dental hygiene anymore. Was quickly able to replace my income as a hygienist. I was able to triple it. So I left.
Now, hang on a second. So you tripled your hygienist income, and how many days a week were you like fitting in appointments like 5 days a week after work, or how were you, how did you triple your income?
I put my head down and I worked, and I followed my activity book.
Okay.
basically, just use my activity book, I had little blocks on when I was working, what I was going to be doing. I had one day to do it, Dukes. And I had that one day. I'd leave the home at 7:30 in the morning. Pablo knew he had kids that day on Thursdays. That was his day. That was my insurance day, one day a week. I'd leave the home at 7:30, and I got home when the job was done. So if that meant getting home at 9:30 at night, that meant getting home at 9:30 at night. So yeah, I did what I could in the time that allowed.
So you were actually putting in a full day's worth of work, one day a week.
Yeah.
And then and when did you start with us? When did you start writing business?
Last spring.
Okay, so like April timeframe?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that means that in 8 months, basically, you not only replaced your income, but you tripled your income working one day a week and worked yourself out of a job. So for 8 months, so in those 8 months, so let's be clear, in those 8 months, how busy were you? I mean, how busy did you feel? Was there did you always, so help me understand how you were feeling at that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a learning curve for sure. It's like you're doing something completely different. I was very busy. I call it organized chaos. I feel like that's the best way to explain it. I feel like now I'm a lot more in control of my schedule. I had to make some major decisions. I had to start saying no to people. I had to start, setting boundaries with my friends, boundaries with my family. That's what it came down to. It came down to having big conversations with people I loved and cared about. But yeah, when I started, it was chaotic. For sure. I was just trying to basically, pack as much as I could within a day. And it worked. It worked for sure. But at some point, I think that's when my vision shifted. I as much as I love producing, I love being in the home, Dukes. I love sitting in front of a family and serving that family. I love the hugs and the tears and everything that comes with. But I found out very quickly, if I still wanted to make sure my number one vocation was being a mom, I needed to think bigger. So my vision has shifted, and I think it's going to shift again, and it's going to shift again. And, hearing your story, just hearing, 15 years ago, where you were at within the business, that gives me the chills.
Well, man, you needed to think bigger because you wanted to be a full-time mama. Your number one job was being a wife and a mom. So, wow. So cool. So now today, so what were some of the things that you did that helped you change your vision? That's kind of helped tweak that thought process and change it to being, because it sounds like that now so explain the difference. So before it was just you personally producing. Now what does it look like?
Yeah. So the main thing is leveraging my time for sure. I think that has really created more organization and, really alleviated a lot of the chaos. But just shifting my vision, I close my eyes now and I picture, I think it's big to really picture where you want to be.
Okay. How much are you leveraging Mike and Noel and Jake and Beret and all that as well?
Oh yeah, I'm leveraging y'all daily. Yeah, I'm fighting to be around you guys. I'm fighting to have conversations with y'all. I'm fighting to do the thing. I'm fighting to have conversations with Jake and Ray daily, asking you big questions, having raw conversations with you, having, asking more better questions, I guess, communicating with a positive and mental attitude. Definitely, y'all's time is valuable, right? But just fighting for that time with Mike and Noel. Any second, any drip of anything I can get to be around Mike and Noel you better believe I'm going to try to fight for that time. You know, I do not take that like lightly at all.
Cool. Well, I know that the big thing that I heard from your conversation is you had the discipline working 1 day a week, and you put a lot in that 1 day. It wasn't just 2 or 3 appointments; it was a full day. You're recruiting now. I think that now you're reinvesting. You're reinvesting in what are you reinvesting in to help buy that more of that time and to help buy your business back.
So I'm reinvesting. I am interviewing for an assistant. So that's big, buying my time there. I am way too busy and long overdue. As Beret would say, you needed an assistant 8 months ago. So that I'm starting the interview process there. And then some exciting big things for myself and Pablo as a support is office space. So Jake and Brea obviously leading from the front. They've decided to get a bigger office space in Rio Rancho. And it needs to be done. So we have a meeting, myself, Pablo, Jake, and Bray, to just kind of discuss some of the fine details coming up here pretty soon. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That is exciting.
Very exciting. Yes.
So now we're thinking like business owners. Holy cow.
I know, right?
That's crazy.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Now, what would it be like just taking the lid off of what you think is possible and just being able to, how many people can you go out and serve? How much? And then I hear that you and Beret are going on a road trip and you guys are going out to serve the team in Dallas. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. We're going to be out in Dallas in a week and a half, going out there. The team out there in Dallas is on fire. So we're out there to serve the team and just to grow this thing big out there. So,
dude, that is exciting. That is exciting. Well, you guys are on fire. I mean, there's such the heart that you guys have. And I love talking to you and Jen, because every time I talk to you guys about your babies, you both have said the same thing. And I'll just tell you, I mean, I have girls. Yes, I have kids, but I still remember when my kids were small, I'm like, hey, I can, if I put them in a closet and I throw food in there and I shut the door, I'm going to go to work. It's such a guy's, and I'll just blame it. It's a guy's mentality. I'm just focused on working, the kids will figure it out, they'll hopefully survive or they won't. And the thing with y'all as moms, I remember sometime probably 15 years ago, I was reading a study and they were talking about that at that time, Starbucks was actually hiring. One of the things they were looking for as actually a bonus for when they hired new managers at Starbucks is that they were hiring people that were mothers, whose maybe their kids were grown, but they knew how to do what you guys are talking about, controlled chaos. Which for me, I mean, I just want to say, so when someone says, oh, I'm overwhelmed, I would challenge you that if you feel overwhelmed, add something else to your list, just to remind yourself that overwhelm is just a story that you're telling yourself. So as a mom, you guys are getting handed stuff all the time. You have one fire after another that you're having to put out, and still you're showing up and being disciplined on that. No, go ahead.
It's funny you say that, Dukes, because I was listening to what Jen had to say about balance. And, when we think about balance, we think of the first thing that comes to most people's mind is these scales, right? Of work, life. I challenge y'all to think of balance a little bit differently. I like to think of balance as like a silver plate. You get to decide what you want to be on your plate, how big your pie is, how much turkey you want. Do you not want turkey today? You get to decide. And it doesn't have to be equal. It doesn't. Not in motherhood either. It doesn't have to be 50-50. And I think the amazing thing about the Alliance is you can be a mom and you can be a business owner. But the cool thing is, I don't like to separate them. In dentistry, it was I left my work at home. Whew, okay, done. I don't want to connect with anyone. Like, I don't have relationships with any of the assistants. Like, I keep it work. I keep it home. This is just different. It feels different. I love talking to people on the team. I love reaching out to the growing leaders. I get to be with my little ones and help the team serve a family. Like, that's crazy. Why would you want to separate that?
Wow. That's that's the difference between a job and a calling, man.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're willing to pick up the phone while the baby's screaming, answer an agent's call from the home, and just know that that's why you're there.
Yeah.
You know, and you've called me when I can hear your youngest in the background losing her mind. And you're like, hang on a second. Yeah, it'll stop in a minute. And just, right. Just being willing to do that. So, hey, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you and Pablo. I'm proud of what you guys are creating. I know that there are going to be some big changes and I'm glad that you recognize that. I'm glad that you recognize that it's not about arriving. It's about, hey, great job. You hit, you got your ring, you hit your agency manager, you became a recognized DM. And I know that your vision now is way past that, and so how much farther can you grow for you and for your kids?
Yep. So
I'm proud of you, man.
Thanks, Dukes. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Cool. So, well, the thing I think about with Sarah and with Jen, and just guys, as you're going through and building your business, we recruit from a lot of other spaces, and I know that and I meant to ask Sarah, and I'll have Jared talk about it in a sec, but where she was hired from. So I know that Jen was hired off an Indeed ad. Sarah was warm market because she had known Veray. And I'm super grateful for the relationships that I've been able to build in the team in this business. One of them being Jerry Gonzalez. Jerry and Pam are just two of the most amazing people that you'll ever meet. There is no one with a bigger heart than Jerry. He has a heart to serve the team. It's awesome. And I remember when I first met Jerry, and he is a bull in a china shop, and he'll be the first to admit it. His personality is bigger than life. And so when I met Jerry, it was really cool because I got to meet a friend. I created a friendship with Jerry, and then when he and I started working directly together, and then he introduced me to his daughter, I was super impressed. But truthfully, I would have never been able to have the pleasure and the honor to meet Jera had I not reached, and Jerry always had this ability to reach up, so I know that as a leader, it's being willing to reach out to the team, but part of this is also the ability and the desire to reach up and ask for coaching and ask for input and for contribution. So without that, we wouldn't have had Miss Jera. So I'm super excited that I got Jera on here. Hey Jera, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm very grateful that you asked me to be on.
Absolutely, bud. So hey, not everyone knows you. I know that you're famous, but if you can give kind of a high level of your background, how you were hired on, what you were doing beforehand, where you were at, and just bring us up to speed.
Awesome. So my name is Sarah Gonzalez. I currently live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, home of the Duke City.
That's right, Duke City.
And as Joe mentioned, my dad, Jerry, was the one who shared the opportunity with me. And whenever he shared it with me, I wasn't actively looking for something else. I was actually living in Hawaii at the time. And I had an internet marketing business that I was running that was successful in the beginning, but it started to kind of take a little bit of a dive and wasn't as profitable as I had hoped. And so I was certainly keeping my options open, but I wasn't actively looking as far as like, my resume out there, different things like that. Because I was in a place where I had my own business and I had been an entrepreneur, for a few years. I didn't want to have to go back to the 9 to 5. I mean, I had the credentials, I have the resume, I went to school at the University of New Mexico, got my bachelor's and MBA. So I could go back to a 9 to 5. I had the resume to be able to get a job, but I was just like, ugh. After, being in a position where you're making your own schedule, you're your own boss, and you're able to kind of create that freedom for yourself, I was just like, the thought of going back to a 9 to 5, like corporate, I was just like, ugh, well, if I have to, I will. But, God works in perfect timing. And that was about the time that my dad said, hey, you should, look at getting your insurance license. And so I did. And I thought, well, what do I have to lose? So I ended up getting my license. I was, super impressed by the fact that they had leads. I had never really done sales before, but I knew that I was passionate about helping people. And, like you said, my dad has a big heart. And if he enjoyed doing it, I figured I might too. And so, like I said, I ended up getting my license. And at the time, I was kind of starting over. I decided to move back to New Mexico from Hawaii. I had a mountain of debt. I was like broken emotionally because I was like kind of starting over. And so I just thought, when I first started, my only goal was just to kind of dig myself out of the hole of debt, with the business. And we had all this inventory, that wasn't selling, that, paid a bunch of money for. So I was just I wasn't even thinking about recruiting. I was just trying to pay the bills. So it's kind of cool to see, that was about 5 years ago, how just plugging into the system, plugging into you as a mentor, and Mike and Noel and, Andy and Jane and just all of our top leaders that have really poured into me and allowed me to expand my vision. Now, I'm in the position where I've been able to share the opportunity and just seeing how it's changed other people's lives, like Jake and Varay. I met them when they were, 17 years old, as Varay would say, barefoot and pregnant, and being able to share this opportunity with them and seeing how it's changed their lives in a massive way. And now they've got 2 girls. And so that alone, and seeing how it's changed, Sarah's life, she was able to triple her income working super part-time. That's really where it becomes rewarding. On the recruiting side, outside of helping families, on the personal production side, but being able to earn the trips. I remember my first year, I earned the trip to Paris, and to be able to take my mom as my +1, she lives in a small town of like 6,000 people. So to be able to bless her with an all expense paid trip to Paris, taking my sister to Aruba, Cancun, Ireland, and I'm super excited about Alaska. Just being able to share this opportunity with people that would never be able to go on trips like that. It's really expanded my vision. I'm at the point now where I'm making multiple 6 figures, but continuing to be around winners like Andy, you, Mike, and Noel have expanded my vision to now say how many people can we make a positive difference in their lives, provide this opportunity to. And instead of multiple 6 figures a year, what if you could make 6 figures a month? And it's not just about the money, but how could you make a even more significant impact in the world, in your family, in just your community, with that type of money, and like for me, I don't have kids, but I do have nieces and nephews. And, for me, it's like, I'm going to be that rich aunt. I am that rich aunt that can take my nieces and nephews on, experiences. Like my little niece, she lives out in Texas. She came out to visit me. She's 10 years old, a couple weeks ago. And I wanted to give her, like a taste of the good life, right? So I rented a hotel. We got, so that she could swim because she loves to swim. She got to order room service, and she was just fired up. And that was so rewarding just to be able to give her that, and she even asked me, Tia Jera, one of these days, can you take me on one of those all expense paid trips? And I was like, you know it, girl. You just keep your grades up. But so just being able to provide experiences like that to my family, being able to change lives and, recruiting, even just sharing the opportunity with people that I encounter throughout the day. Like, I know some folks on our team I've hired just from being in an Uber, going to restaurants, offering opportunities to folks that I'm impressed with their service, as a server. And then it inspires me, being a business owner and a leader to be the best version of myself, because I want to be able to lead from the front, show the example, and be able to do it myself so that I can help others, maximize their potential.
Awesome. Now, one thing I wanted to know, because you kind of skipped over a little bit in the beginning. So when you first started, before you got your license, you went to national convention before you ever had your license. So what did attending a major event before you were even licensed? I mean, I've had people say, I'm not licensed yet, or, hey, I just got my license. I can't afford to go to a major event. I don't see the point in going to this major event. What did going to a major event for you do for you being brand new 4 years ago?
Yeah. So honestly, I went to a hotspot on a Thursday, and the following weekend was the national convention, and I didn't know what it was all about. All I knew was that my leaders were telling me, this is something that's going to fast track your success. I hadn't even registered for the license class yet. But because they were telling me, hey, if you're going to be coachable and teachable, we're coaching you that you need to go to this event. So I just, figured out how to get there. Like, wasn't even licensed. I was so inspired by that event because I was able to meet people that were just like me, see people walk across the stage, that were making six figures. And I've been to events like that before, like in, different multi-level marketing, things that I was involved with before. And it's like, there was always like a few people up there. But this event, like, there was a lot of people making money. And I was like, man, if they can do it, so can I. And so it really just inspired me, instilled that belief. At that point, they were promoting the Paris trip. So I just thought, wow, how awesome would it be? Because I love to travel. I had never been to Paris. And so I thought, what do I have to lose? So I went back just super fired up, finished my license in like a week. And that first month, just with everything that I had learned at that first national convention, I wrote, I think it was $30,000 in annual premium my first month. So essentially, by attending that event, it gave me the tools to essentially deposit about $15,000 into my bank account the first month.
That'll help you get out of the hole faster.
That definitely fast tracked it. That's why I'm grateful that, the Alliance is put together these major events every 90 days, because we all get in a rut, life happens. There's things that, we all go through, whatever, we have our ups and downs. But to be able to attend these events every 90 days, not to mention, the hot spots and boot camps in between, but it gives you that motivation, reminds us of why we're doing what we're doing, as far as like setting our goals, being around positive people, that positive association is huge. And so I'm just grateful for the events because they truly are life-changing.
Now, what are you doing to reinvest? I know that, like you said, you're now making, you dug yourself out of the hole. You're now making multiple six figures a year, not just on your personal sales, but you now have a team. What is it that you're doing to reinvest back into your business and back into what you're doing?
So certainly investing in staff, being able to buy back my time, right? Understanding what my time is worth, and that I'm only one person. There's so many hours in the day. So being able to have someone that can help me, with pending business, scheduling client policy reviews, helping me send out birthday cards, all of that, helping me just track on the recruiting side, agents that we've hired, getting them set up with the license class, helping them get through the class quickly, all of that good stuff. In an office, I do have a office here in Albuquerque. And just being able to expand. I know Sarah mentioned Jake and Bray are getting a larger office so that all of us can grow. So I'll be renting an office space with them as well, so that we can all, be around each other, that positive association. And it's not convenient for me. It's more money. It's about 30 minutes from my house, but I know that it's going to benefit having our staff together, being able to dial together, have a place where all of our team can come together, and then definitely investing as far as doing a lot more traveling. So I've definitely noticed the difference when someone gets licensed, being able to travel to them or have them travel to me and dial together, run appointments together. I know I'm going to be going up to, Salt Lake this Saturday. You and I are going to be doing a boot camp. So just thinking more like a business owner and not so much like a personal producer, investing to buy my time back, thinking about who can I bring on appointments with me, right? Instead of me out helping clients on my own, who's new on our team that can shadow me on appointments, who is being coachable and teachable that I can travel to help them, get started and things like that. Cause I know when I first started, doing dial sessions on my own, it's a lot easier when you're around the team, being able to get coaching and objections and all of that. So just being able to, invest in things that I can buy my time back, staff. I even have a new puppy, so I've invested in dog sitters on rover.com so that I'm not like, oh my gosh, I got to get home to my pup. Like she's at her doggy daycare. I don't have to worry about it. I've, even going up to Salt Lake this weekend, I've got my dog sitter lined up so that I don't have to worry about it. So just being able to have those things set in place so that I'm not having to do it on my own, hiring house cleaners, I know one of the things that stood out to me is, the average commission for, a new agent for every family that you help is about $500. And I'm at the point, if I'm worth $500 an hour, if that's what my time is worth, then what are things that I can delegate that is, less than $500 an hour? So that's kind of been a good metric for me to be able to, okay, is this something that only I can do? Or is this something that I can, have someone else help me with?
That's big. That is a bit, it's a major mind shift. And it's one of those things that I would tell you, just keep challenging that thought process. And I remember Andy telling me the first time you get your first staff, I think he says it's like the first time you try it, you want another one. He says, so you get one staff person, you want another one, because if you can really learn how to delegate, all of a sudden you're not only buying your time back, but like if you have a staff person, so this is why I'm super fired up for Jen and for Sarah being new with us or newer, that, both of them are just 90 days and a little over a year, is that looking at having staff, it's like all of a sudden it's like, hey, if you can write 3 apps a week part-time, having no staff, what could happen? I mean, if you had a staff person being able to help you out, make sure your pending gets issued, so that way you aren't chasing pending. I think Andy called it purgatory, that pending rhymes with purgatory. He says, and if you can get your apps out of pending, and all of a sudden you can get paid on them. And so if you have someone helping you get paid, well, hey, that frees up time, which means that you can maybe write 1 or 2 extra apps a week, or hey, you can actually hire 1 or 2 extra agents that in a long term will create something long term for you. One thing that I will say that you ladies all have in common, and this is coming from kind of the overview of what I've watched y'all do, is that you guys, I haven't seen any of you have a Napoleon complex. And I don't mean that you're short and you'll sit around with your hand in your thing like this or want to invade Prussia. I mean that you want to be like the mother hen. Like, you don't want anyone, okay, it's my thought process getting into my team. The thing that I've watched, and I've watched you guys be able to grow fast, is because you're trying to be a river of knowledge and not a dam. You're trying to like if there's a garden hose of information, if you were the only point of input, then you would be the crimp in the garden hose. And so I've seen you guys get not just yourself, but I've seen you get your direct upline around your team. I've seen you encourage, hey, I want you to talk. You need to be talking to Mike and Noah. You need to be talking to Andy. You need to be talking. Have you reached out to Andy? Have you reached out to Jake and Bray, even reaching crossline or downline? Like, the thing is, guys, is that there is such power in the team. And there's such power in, I think, I love when Andy starts doing the wolf pack chat. The power of the pack is the wolf, and the power of the wolf is the pack. And that just, whenever I hear that, I was like, wow, that's us. That is the alliance. That is who we be. There's power. We are powerfully individual, but man, we are, infinitely more powerful the more we can get other people, around us and around ourselves. So we have this breakthrough event coming up in less than, how many days? 20 days from now? 22 days? No, so it's the 28th of September. So a month and a half coming up. Guys, I know that there's a wait list. I know that there's a super, super, super limited seating. You may be like, but there's no way in heck. I'm like, listen, where there's a will, there's a way. This is going to be 5 days of such intensive training that it's going to blow your mind. Mark Aceta is going to set your hair on fire. Andy Albright, Megan Wood, all these people who are going to be talking at Breakthrough and are going to be coaching. It will change not only your business today, but it's going to change your life if you choose it to be. And it's funny how we always, hey, if we say we can't, we can't. If we say we can or we will, we'll make it happen. So that's one thing I know. If there's one thing I know, is that you're going to do what you want to do 100% of the time. So, Jared, that was why I wanted you to talk a little bit about, stepping out on faith and a week after you saw the business, stepping out on faith and investing in a ticket to fly all the way from Albuquerque to Burlington. So you could go out and you could get around the team. If you're brand new and you're like, hey, I don't know how I'm going to get out there, also talk to your upline coach. If you're a veteran and you don't have a ticket, well, you know what? Talk to your upline coach. There's going to be a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So, guys, I am so grateful. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jane, for allowing me to host the call today, for allowing these amazing ladies, these amazing leaders in the business to be able to share where they're at. And guys, as we go forward into this next week, it's time to take over. It's time to make stuff happen. And if you choose that that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to make happen. I love, discipline does equal freedom. It's why I love, this flag behind me every day I'm on it. I remind myself, okay, am I going to be, Alex Avian told me one time, he says, Joseph, you're either going to be disciplined by your calendar or you're going to be disciplined by your checkbook. And I freaking hate being disciplined by my checkbook because I like to spend money. So guys, having control and being disciplined on your calendar is in my opinion, one of the number one things the number one thing you need to do. And so if you don't have Breakthrough in your calendar, put it in there today. make that choice, and then we will see you all there in about 45 days. Love you guys. Thank you so much for attending today. Ladies, thank you so much for sharing with the team and sharing your heart with us. Love you so much, and excited to see what the next 90 days bring. And here as we close out 2023. See you guys later. Love y'all.
Record.